Hi everybody, it's Sally from Sallystampers. Thank you for joining me today. Today I'm bringing you my Drop Sides box in a box. It's a cute little decorated box. It opens up quite nicely, like so. And then when you take the lid off, it has a little candle inside. How nice is that? There are quite a few components, as you can see. I have done one in centimetres. Just so you can see that it does work. Obviously I haven't die cut the hole because that's not relevant to the sizing, although I can confirm when using the layered circles that it will still fit, because your die is actually the inside ring, so it will still fit. As I say, the lid sits on nicely and then they shut up, and then you just put a piece of card on the top, as I have done here. So yes, nice and pretty. So let's go ahead and make one. In fact, let me just put that back together. So to start off with then, you will need a piece of basic white. This is for what I've called the drop side, so that's for these bits here. So you need a piece of basic white, and you're going to need trimmer again, I'm afraid, for this one. Not for this piece particularly, but we may as well just stick with it. So, piece of cardstock that is 8.5 by 4, 22 by 10 centimetres. On the short side, we're going to score at 1 inch and 3 inches. Which will be 2.5 and 7.5 centimetres. It doesn't matter which way you rotate this, but you need your long side, and you are going to score at 1 inch, 3.25, 5.25, and 7.5. And in centimetres, that will be 2.5, 8.5, 13.5 and 19.5. So we're going to fold and burnish these pieces here. And then what you need to do is, on your 4 corners here, we're going to cut them from the long side into tabs. When you cut the top section, you need to do it quite shallow, and you also may need to trim it again in a second, but I'll show you that. Repeat on all 4 corners. And then, once you've done that, you then need to cut away these 2 narrow sections in the middle, but just straight cuts, no fancy wedges. So cut down and just cut those away. Repeat on the other side. So just straight cuts down, and then cut along here. So you'll be left with this shape. You then need to cut some angles onto this. You can use your ruler, and if you want a pencil, a scoring tool, anything like that. But you're going from this bottom corner here, where you've just cut the midsection, to the top corner up there. So you just want a little guide, as I say, pencil, trimmer, whatever you want to use, but you're just going from the inside centre out to the top. And once you've done that, you then just cut away following that line. Can't see it this side. All 4 trying to be clever then and it was going to go very wrong. Straight down. So you're now left with this shape. And then all you're going to do is adhere these pieces here. And this is where I said you may need to just trim a little bit if your tab overhangs. So fabulous pegs going on here. So yeah, so this one I will need to trim a little. And that one's okay. And that one's okay. Didn't do too badly there. Okay, so that's what you're now left with. And as you can see, that's how your drop sides is created. So next we're doing the insert, which is where the candle will sit. So again, bring in your trimmer, and you need a piece of card that is 2 15/16 by 5 3/8, 7.8 by 14.1 centimetres. On the short side, we're going to score at 1/2 inch and 2 7/8. No, that's not right, is it? Okay, so we're going back in for the half, so it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7/16, not 7/8. Silly me. Let me just change that, because otherwise I'll have measurements wrong on my blog as well. So you're basically doing 1/2 inch either side. 1.5 centimetres and then 6.3 centimetres. Then on the long side, again, doesn't matter which way you rotate, we're going to score again at 1/2 inch and then at 1 inch, 2 15/16 and 3 7/16. So that's there. And in centimetres, that will be 1.5, 3, 7.8 and 9.3. Before I do anything else though, I need to run this through to die cut my circle. So, as I said, layering circles, I found that this one, the scalloped one, is a fraction bigger for the tea light. The smaller one is too small, which is bizarre. On the square that's surrounded, if you like, not the one with the edge, make sure it's fairly central and then run it through. Okay, and then once that's done, nearly actually put that bit in the bin, silly me. Once you've done that bit, you can now fold. Now, be really careful round your die cut circle, because obviously there's not a lot of card around the edge of it. So just be very careful when you're doing it. And this is just going to become a little box, if you like. So little centre squares here. We're going to cut the wedges there. And again on this piece here. Okay, so as you can see now, this is going to fold together like so. So on this section where you have the two small squares, the one nearest your die cut circle, you're going to cut into wedges, and the last one you're going to cut away. Okay, so wedge into that piece, wedge into that piece, and then you cut that away. So that's now what you're left with that piece. So I'm going to add some adhesive onto, oh, there's a fly in here, onto these tabs. Get out, Mr. Fly. Onto these tabs here and onto this strip here. Okay, so fold that into there like so. I'm just literally going to hold it just for a couple of seconds. And then, oh, I nearly forgot, you also need some adhesive on the inside of those. So fold those in. It's a bit tricky here because you don't want to get too glued up. And then they go on the outside and that tucks inside. So you've got a fair few bits here to push in, but once you've done it, oops, there we go. So that's what you should then have. Okay, so we're going to bring this back in. I want to add my DSP just to inside the parts here. So I have this lovely DSP that is 1 3/4 by 2 inches or 5.5 by 4.5. So that just sits in there. And that's why it's ideal to use wet glue on this, because it is a little bit fiddly getting it in place. And then glue on your base here, and that sits on there. And if you want to make sure it's in the right place, just pop those sides up. Okay, pop your candle in if you need to for a bit of weight. And then we just need to do our lid, the box part. So for this one you need a piece that is 8.5 by 4 1/8, 21 by 10.7. On the short side we're going to score at 2 inches, which is 4.9 centimetres. Then you're going to rotate clockwise and score at 2, 4, 6 and 8, and in centimetres 4.9, 9.8, 14.7 and 19.6. That's simple as that. Fold and burnish. I'm not doing too badly for time either, which is a miracle. Fold and burnish these. And then just double check. Yes, so you've got a slightly longer side. So on the short side, you just need to cut down these sections here and cut away this top one. And then you need to add DSP. So I have 4 pieces here that are 1 3/8, 1 3/4 by 1 7/8, and then you need one for the lid that is 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. So these ones go on the side. So let's throw these on here. I do love this grey granite, it's my favourite by far. Okay, so pop that on. Adhesive on this strip here. Fold your box together, just make sure that it's not, oops, oh crumbs, there we go. And then it's easiest if you place this on the candle, because then you've got a firm base to work on. Fold your sides in. I do find it easier just to add a little bit of adhesive to hold them all in place, and then your last one obviously will go on like so. My piece of DSP now to sit on there, and then fold these up Oh, I didn't trim my edge, did I? Never mind. It is a really tight, cosy fit, but obviously that will stop it from falling apart all the time. And then your top pieces here, 2 by 2, 5 by 5 centimetres, 1 3/4 by 1 3/4, and just do a little bit of stamping. So I have Nature's Prints, and I literally just used the edge of this one here and the Hello There sentiment. So I've got those, pop my sentiment in the centre, then have just a little bit of that on the edge, and then I did use these Fun Flowers resin shapes, but obviously I don't have grey ones, but what I might go with is the lilac-y one. I think it's Fresh Freesia, but I think it will just sit nicely on there. So this then gets adhered onto here, like so, and then I just added a strip on there for it to sit on this side here. And there you have your drop sides box in a box. Hope you like them. Hope you don't find them too complicated. See you all soon.